last few years, there's been months where I can buy food one day, 1 week a month, maybe $20 to spend on food. And, you know, I got really sick, got into drugs through real depression. And I wouldn't change a day of it, not right back through the whole rock and roll thing.
In 2002, the record label Flying Nun celebrated its 21st anniversary. In that time, it has achieved a #1 album and a #1 single. It has received a Tradians Award for export sales. It had 3 songs in New Zealand's all-time top 30, and it has an international reputation for unique and original music.
The collection of bands that happened to be on this little label were making such innovative and fresh music. It was just so exciting.
The Straitjacket Fits, along with the Chills, would both gain international acclaim, and 21 years on, Flying Nun is still signing new bands with the same sort of potential.
I felt really, privileged to be on a pretty legendary label worldwide, really. It's pretty renowned for being a unique New Zealand label.
Flying Nun was a place to find people that were passionate about the music and not necessarily interested in how the business side would work. This combination would create a unique and seminal New Zealand record label. On March 22nd, 2002, at York Street Studios, Auckland, a handful of Flying Nun bands recorded versions of their favourite songs from the Flying Nun back catalogue for the album Under the Influence. The man behind the beginning of Flying Nun was Roger Shepherd. In 1981, he was running a record store in Christchurch and decided he was going to start a record label and release the exciting music he was seeing around town.
It just happened. Could have been anyone.
It was a Dunedin band that caught Roger Shepherd's attention, and it was that band's first song that caught the attention of everyone else.
I actually bought that as a single, and I can remember clearly I was about 18, 19 in my first flat, jumping off the kitchen table onto the floor and pogoing around the room with my mates.
It's like New Zealand's Louie Louie, it's just perfectly in proportion and not too garagey, not too pop.
It's just a pure piece of pop simplicity / genius.
They were just a phenomenally good band, and I really felt that they needed to have a record release, that there's something, it needed to be documented in some shape or form. And it wasn't really about, we can sell lots of records. It was, really need to get something out.
He was the first one to really show any interest, from a label, real interest, I guess.
Yeah, he was very enthusiastic.
He responded to the aesthetic of what we're about, We'd gone into, I guess, the major Auckland recording studio at the time and took in a demo tape, and we were told to get out of the studio as quickly as possible because, the producer there just said it was, there was nothing of any value whatsoever.
There was no commercial value.
Yeah.
So that was the end of our Auckland idea of recording in an Auckland studio.
The Clean ended up recording Tally Ho in Christchurch, and it reached number 19 in the New Zealand charts. The rawness and vitality of the song also caught the attention of Chris Knox, who had been in the Dunedin punk band The Enemy. He was to have a major impact at Flying Nun.
We definitely wanted to be involved, come hell or high water. There was no way this bloody label was going to get by without us.
Chris Knox bought a 4-track recorder with money he inherited from the death of his grandmother. He and his friend Doug Hood used it to record the Clean's next record, Boodle Boodle Boodle.
amazing. Not having some stupid engineer who'd never heard your cruddy music saying, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that, and foisting their own idea of what a good record sounded like upon you was just like, yes, just give us more of this.
We were recording in a situation where you couldn't really hear what was going down as it was going down, so we only really discovered what it sounded like when we listened back. And so it was incredibly exciting. You never really knew at the end of a take whether you had a good recording.
Where we recorded Tally Ho for $50 and kind of shows. They recorded Boodle 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 for, I think it was $750. And I think it was pretty good value for money, really, because it's a good sounding record.
The lack of money spent on the recording seemed irrelevant to Boodle Boodle Boodle's success. It reached number 5 in the charts and stayed in the top 50 for 6 months.
And in the early days, we were selling like 200 of, for example, the Clean's Boodle 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 12-inch into one shop, and then by the end of the week they'll be ringing up for another 200.
All local records are going to have a reasonable selling point with girlfriends, family, school teachers, music teachers. They're all going to buy it, so you got 50 or 100 straight away. So I saw that, but when it got into the thousands, that was interesting.
And Boodle was such an important record in that it sold lots of copies. It was commercially it was hugely successful for us, which gave us the confidence to do other stuff, and also gave us a bit of cash flow.
The EP Great Sounds Great was the Clean's follow-up.
They made Boodle, and then they made a follow-up EP, and then decided that the pressure of being so successful in New Zealand was too much for them, and they had to break up, so they broke up. It's kind of the height of their popularity, really. I guess if they kept at it, and they could have made the kind of impact elsewhere that they'd made in New Zealand at that time.
Although the Clean had had enough, Doug Hood and Chris Knox once more headed south to record 4 more Dunedin bands that Roger Shepherd wanted to release on Flying Nun.
The first Chills recordings were on the Dunedin double EP, which was Verlaine, Stones, Sneaky Feelings, Chills.
We go for a swim in the deep of space. 1,000 colours reflect off your face. The stars surround us as we sail on through a kaleidoscope world. Don't need a red light bulb, I can see Mars. We've got a stereo and electric guitars. The sounds we make echo on through a kaleidoscope world. Oh, pyromaniac, hail to the back. Gonna make you like a even if matches ransom on the ground. Have a look around, burn it to the ground and watch the engines rushing. You turn me round, you turn me round and round.
When we started off, we figured we want to do everything the wrong way, You're not allowed to call yourselves the Stones, so we did. Nice name.
It was the release of the Dunedin double EP that started the idea of the Dunedin sound, a phrase that would come to haunt Flying Nun.
Some people somehow could find something in common between the sort of classical rock of the Verlaines, the total out-and-out sort of stooge craziness of the Stones, the twee little happy little pop songs of the Chills, and the sort of Birds come Tamla Motown sound of the Sneaky Feelings, because they all used guitars. It was about the only common thread I could see, but other people seem to be able to find, they're all jangly, aren't they? All guitar jangly stuff. That must be the Dunedin sound.
There was a Dunedin sound, there's no getting around it. The way the guitars sounded, trebly guitars, jangly guitars, the things they were listening to, although by the same token, the Sneaky Feelings were listening to different things than, say, the Verlaines were.
I guess we all shared equipment and band members and girlfriends and stuff.
The individual who coined the expression the Dunedin sound will come as a surprise to the Flying Nun musicians who objected to the description.
I think it might have been me, actually, just as a passing comment that I think I possibly made to someone. And of course, I apologise to everyone, and I'm really, really, really sorry.
More significant than the Dunedin sound debate was the actual recording of the Dunedin double EP. Chris Knox's experiences with his previous band Toy Love had a huge effect on him, and the lessons he learned would create trouble between him and some of the Flying Nun bands.